What's good, guys? Welcome back to the Milk Carton series. I'm your host, Stephanie. If you are new tuning in, welcome. Now, today is Missing Person Case Monday, and I have a really sad story. I know I say that in all my videos, but all missing person cases are truly sad to me because I put myself in the family's shoes as if this was my loved one. That's how much I care. Now, today we will be discussing a 7-year-old by the name of Alexis Patterson. She went missing from the Milwaukee, Wisconsin area on May 3rd of 2002, and she has not been seen since. Now, I say all stories are bizarre and strange in disappearances because they really are. And this one really struck at me, as you will see as we enter this case. So Alexis was born on April 4th, 1995, and she is the daughter of Anaya Patterson and Kenya Campbell. Alexis is known for her bubbly personality, being really feisty, but also very loving. Anyone that has a daughter truly understands those characteristics. I know. But nonetheless, she was a great little girl to be around. She had so much life in her, and she was always excited about school. She got perfect attendance, and she loved to just attend school and be around her friends. 7 years old. Who doesn't love to be around their friends at that age? Also had a stepfather by the name of Laurent Barregas. His last name may be pronounced wrong, so I apologize in advance if it is, but nonetheless, Anaya did have a stepfather as well that was in the picture in her life with her mother Anaya. Now, in 2002, about 2 weeks before Anaya disappeared, there had been reports that came out. Anaya attended High Mount Boulevard School, which wasn't far from her home, and there had been reports that there was an unidentified man riding around the school. It had been reported that he tried to abduct a little boy not too long before Alexis went missing. So this is some good information to watch out on. But who would have thought that Alexis would go missing literally 2 weeks after this notification comes through to the parents? On May 2nd, Anaya and Alexis had gotten into a disagreement. Nonetheless, mother and daughter, feisty 7-year-olds. But Alexis didn't do her homework, so Anaya basically told Alexis that, hey, you're not bringing in cupcakes this week since it's your turn because you didn't do what you were supposed to do. So they had gotten to a little disagreement, and nonetheless, Alexis was very upset at her mother. What 7-year-old would not be upset at their mother for not allowing them to bring desserts or candy into the classroom? I mean, that was lit back in the day. You were the one that brought in the good stuff for your friend. May 3rd, Laurent walked Alexis to school. He waited across the street because she walked through the crosswalk and went through the playground of the school. And that was it. But strangely, that day, Alexis did not attend any classes. And it had been reported that Alexis was sitting on the playground before school and she was sitting at the playground after school. But no one called Anaya or Laurent that she did not attend classes. How can that be? How can a 7-year-old not? It's like, how did you miss that? Like, how did you miss that? But you reported that you may have seen her on the playground in the morning and then in the afternoon. Makes zero sense. Alexis had no history of running away. This was not in her character. As I said previously, Alexis was truly passionate about getting her perfect attendance for school. And it didn't make any sense as to why she would run away. So, of course, Alexis' parents were notified and the police were called because Alexis never returned home. Immediately, the case was listed as a possible runaway. They searched the school. They did a grid-by-grid search into a variety of different streets that surrounded the school area because that was the last known place that Alexis was at. Also, divers who searched nearby lagoons, and the police really did the best that they could to search for Alexis. Used boats, motorcycles, helicopters to find Alexis. And back in that time frame, you have to even realize that I feel like now we live in a society where, of course, crime crime and missing person has definitely increased, but back in the day, you know, it wasn't really normal for a child to go missing. So I feel like they did what they could in that moment and the resources that they had. Alexis' father, Kenya, learned about her disappearance on the news. He actually had just been released from jail when Alexis went missing. So in order to keep Alexis' image in the media, there was hundreds and thousands of posters flying around. There was volunteers searching many areas, alleyways, creeks, lakes, whatever that they could possibly search, they did in order to try to find Alexis. May 14th of 2002, Alexis' case had been reclassified, changed it from possible runaway to suspicious circumstances. Of course, months later, they believed that foul play had been involved in this disappearance of Alexis. Strange is, in this time of Alexis disappearing, a guy by the name of Brian T. Werner, he would go around with flyers, basically trying to say why was Alexis' life mattered, pretty much. Like, why are we giving this little girl attention? And it makes me sick to my stomach that a grown man would go around to try to stop people from searching for her. Like, how sick and twisted can you be? Regardless of her skin color, regardless of what she looked like, every child deserves the proper media attention. Because Alexis' case was getting more news attention, it was like as if he didn't like that. But of course, law enforcement could really do anything about him because, again, First Amendment protects him, blah, blah, blah. But nonetheless, you have to be really sick in your mind to question why a black child is getting news. Like, what? So her, you know, it just doesn't make any sense to me at all, and how insensitive and inhumane some individuals can really be. In August of 2002, anonymous tip came in and said that Alexis' remains were in the Louisiana area. In August of 2002, an anonymous caller called into the television station, basically saying that Alexis' remains were hidden in the Milwaukee River on the eastern side of Milwaukee. Now, divers and everything began to search this area, and Alexis' remains were never found in that lagoon or months. Volunteers would consistently search different areas. Canine dogs were out. It truly had been a search that they continued on. And of course, as leads were coming in, some of these leads were not always as active. So a year after Alexis' disappearance, LaRon had been given a polygraph, but he failed this polygraph. And the questions that he was asked were never released, of course. In that same year, he was charged with an unrelated crime, but with a domestic dispute with Anaya, Alexis' mother. Anaya had been trying to leave him because he had been very abusive in their relationship, and things were just really not moving forward with them. So in 2005, there was another call that came in basically saying that Alexis' remains were buried in the southern states, and this wasn't to a search warrant of a vacant house in Louisiana, but nothing was ever found, nor was Alexis' remains ever found in this specific area that the caller had called in about. So in 2012, police had released that they interviewed over 60 to 80 individuals. Some of these individuals were re-interviewed because some of them kind of went back on what they thought they seen that fateful morning. But nonetheless, the police tried their very best. But Alexis' mother believes that police should have done more. And as I was looking in the different articles, I feel like they did what they could. And you guys know, I'm very honest. Right is right, wrong is wrong. But I feel like they did everything that they could to get Alexis out there. I mean, her case did make national news, which is a blessing because 9 times out of 10, a lot of these cases do not make national news. You guys know that. I say that all the time. Never heard of this case? Hell, I never even heard of Alexis Patterson going missing. And she made national news. Sometimes it just, I always say this, I stress this a lot. Although some of these cases make national news, you still have to keep their name alive. And that's what makes it hard, because they do tend to get forgotten because so many children and so many adults are going missing on a daily basis. So it's very hard. And I can only imagine working in that unit to try to keep their name alive and trying to reinvestigate and trying to make sure you find new tips. It's hard. It really is. So the mayor of Milwaukee had gave May 3rd the day for Alexis Patterson Forget-Me-Not Day. And I thought that was truly amazing. No, it doesn't bring her back, but it gives us a day to remember her and to keep her name alive, to remember that to remember the purpose of finding stranger is. In December 2013, Alexis' father, Kenya, had been charged with basically beating his new baby that he had. And there was some wonder if maybe he had something to do with the disappearance of Alexis. But from what I read, he was in prison still, and a lot of reports were wondering if he had been out, but he was still in prison when Alexis went missing. He didn't even know that Alexis was missing until he watched the news. This is where the case gets crazy. So in July of 2016, Joshua Miller of Bryan, Ohio, thought that, well, he began to wonder if his ex-wife was Alexis Patterson because his wife, she didn't know anything about her upbringing. She looked very similar to Alexis. She had some similar marks as Alexis. And it's crazy. So he, hoping to confirm his suspicions, he met with Anaya, Alexis' mother. While he was there, he gave a sample of his son's DNA. They gave it to the police department, and the police department was supposed to, confirm the DNA to see if it matches Anaya, Alexis, anything, right? Well, the results did come back and they did not match, but Anaya was so gun-ho on that she didn't believe that these results were accurate at all because she thought maybe they were, how like someone messes with the results. So she did not believe that these results were actually, they got her birth certificate, came to find out she was from Belize. She had a green card. So police really didn't believe that this was actually. Then in question, this girl, the ex-wife, was actually 7 years older than what Alexis was. And she also had 2 children already. So if it was her, she would have gotten pregnant very young at like 14 in order for her to be Alexis because of the age difference and the age gap. Both truly believe that, meaning Bryan and Anaya, they truly believe that the results were wrong. They really believed that this was Alexis. And the lady, the ex-wife, she was so agitated because there was so much scrutiny. There was so much media following her, harassing her. And of course, Anaya's apologized, but anyone, if you have a lead or a possible lead, you do get excited. I mean, I don't have a missing child, but I would get excited wondering, this is my child. Like, where the hell have you been all these years? Like, I would probably be this. A $10,000 reward in the disappearance of Alexis. Not sure if that number has increased, just going off what I have read. So you might want to double check on that. But nonetheless, Alexis is still missing. And then in 2009, the case was turned over to Milwaukee's Cold Case Unit. Currently no suspects. And law enforcement states that they have interviewed everyone, and they haven't really given much information on if they have someone in mind of the disappearance of Alexis. But despite the intensive investigation, there has not been any new leads in the disappearance of Alexis Patterson, and there has not been any physical evidence to contradict anything in this case or to move it forward. Anaya does state that she wishes that the law enforcement had, done a little bit better in the organization in her case, and that's her opinion because she is her mother. So I don't know, but I can only go off from what I read, and I feel like they have done what they could in this case of Alexis. They thoroughly were looking for her as if this was their kid. There are some theories in the disappearance of Alexis Patterson. One being that LaRon is responsible for the disappearance of her because he was the last individual to see Alexis. There's no evidence to prove that he was responsible for the disappearance of Alexis. He has not been ruled a suspect. And although he failed that polygraph and we don't know the questions, it makes me wonder what happened that fateful morning on May 3rd. That makes me wonder what happened. And there's also theories that LaRon is a pimp. He put her into prostitution or sex trafficking. There has not, again, been any correlation to prove these theories, but that is just some theories that have been thrown out there by people. The second theory is that Bryan, Ohio, it is known for a lot of children going missing, and they believe that the ex-wife is in fact Alexis. But they believe that she's just been instructed to keep quiet, paid off, whatever the case is. The day she disappeared, she was last seen wearing a purple blouse or a light blue shirt that had stripes on it, hooded red nylon pullover jacket that had gray stripes that ran down the side of it. She had on blue jeans, blue and white high-top Nike sneakers, a cluster-type diamond that had a sunflower on it. She was also carrying a pink Barbie backpack, a bump on her left pinky finger, scar under her right eye, and a mole above her left eye. That is the story of Alexis Patterson. She is still missing, and I hope that one day her family gets the answers that they seek, and I'm sending them love and light. So until the next missing person case video, I will see you guys.